Good morning, Facebook family and YouTube subscribers. Over the weekend, I hung out with some friends who were in town. We went out to dinner and some other stuff. These guys are in a fraternity. I think they're Kappas I was hanging with. Anyway, the purpose of this video is to discuss brothers who are in fraternities, the Kappas, Sigmas, Omegas, Alphas. And over the years, I've met a lot of men who are in these fraternities. Most guys enter into these fraternities when they are in college, going to school, and they sign up for these fraternities for a variety of reasons, mainly to network and have a foot up in society is the original purpose of these fraternities, why they signed up. But what I'm finding over the past 20 years of being actively involved in the gay community, I've met so many guys, so many black men who are in these fraternities. A lot of these guys are married, they have wives, they have kids at home. A lot of these guys are living a very undercover, down low life made easy by being in these fraternities. I've met so many guys over the years that it's starting to get alarming as I get older. I'm 42. I'll be 43 in April. I've met so many guys in the past 2 years who are actively involved in these fraternities, who have, like I said, they're married. For the most part, you would think that they were straight men, but they're not. They're very undercover with their sexuality, and they're able to hide their sexuality by being in these fraternities, by telling their wives or lovers or whatever, I'm hanging with my frat brothers. I'm going to a meeting with my frat brothers. My frat brothers are going to Washington, D.C. for a conference. My frat brothers are going to a vacation in the Bahamas. So I'm hanging with my fraternity brothers. I'm going to say this to anyone who wishes to get involved with anyone involved in a fraternity. Anyone who wants to get involved with a guy who's in a fraternity. If you consider about dating, if you're a black female and you're thinking about dating a man who is a Kappa, Sigma, Omega, or Alpha, or I forget the other various black fraternities, I'll be very careful. Be very, very careful dealing with these guys. A lot of these men who hang with their frat brothers, they're actually doing more than just hanging out with their frat brothers. They're actually having sex with their frat brothers. They're going to these conferences and hotels and outings or vacations or whatever you want to call it. And these guys get together and have group sex. Some of these guys get together and have risky, unprotected group sex with other fraternity members. And I've heard this for years. I've known about this problem since I was about 23, 24 years of age when I was dating a guy who was a Kappa. An older friend of mine, I used to go when I had hair, I used to go to the barber shop and get my hair cut. And a friend of mine who was my barber asked where the guy I was dating was at. And I said, well, he is in Miami hanging with his frat brothers on a cruise. And I remember he spun that chair around and said, you let your partner go to Miami and get on a ship with other Kappas. Do you know what's going on in that ship? And I was naive. I was young. I didn't know. I'm like, he's with his frat brothers. He said, man, they're on that ship fucking. It's a big old sex party going on that ship right now as we speak. And I remember sitting there thinking, are you kidding me? And it all started to make sense. I was dating a guy who was a Kappa who loved hanging around his frat brothers. He's always on with my frat brothers. They would go all over the place, everywhere. South Carolina, Washington, D.C. He was always traveling with his frat brothers. I didn't know anything. I was very naive at this point. I just assumed these were straight guys that he was hanging with, networking. That's what he told me. But that wasn't what was happening. I would be very, very leery about dating a guy who's in any of these fraternities. These guys are manipulative, sneaky, very extremely sneaky. Because they can sneak off under the guise of, I'm hanging with my frat brothers. And if you're naive, like I was at one point in my life, you'll fall for the okie doke. And let me tell you guys something. I used to just think it was KAPPAs, but in the past few years, I've met so many gay omegas, big, muscle-bound, giant dudes. I've been shocked. Guys that I know it sounds stupid, but I've been relatively shocked at the amount of gay omegas I've met in recent years. But it's sexuality. Gay folks are everywhere. But the problem I have with these fraternity guys, they're highly educated. They're smart men. They all have gone to college of some sort, but they're stupid. They're very naive. They think they're invincible. They think that the guys they messing with are clean. This is what I've heard from them. All the fraternity, I have sex with my fraternity brothers. They married with other guys. You're having unprotected sex with a group of guys from city to city. You can go to Chicago, Indianapolis, D.C., Cleveland, Ohio. You're having sex with other fraternity brothers. You don't know who these guys are fucking on the side. You guys are not using condoms. You're not using safe sex. Then you got a wife at home. You're married. You have kids. You're putting her at risk. You're putting yourself at risk. Are you that naive? These guys think they are invincible. They think HIV is not in their circle of friends they having sex with. Because in their minds, they're having sex with other fraternity brothers who are masculine, married, but it's just too much going on. It's too much going on. Me personally, I meet these guys. I meet these guys all the time. They hit me up on Facebook. I meet them walking down the street. I meet Omegas, Kappas, Sigmas, Alphas. I meet them all. Me personally, I don't fuck with those guys. I'm speaking from my own personal experience. These guys are too sneaky. They've been doing this for a long time. I'm 42. So a lot of these guys have been fucking around since they're 19, 20 years of age. Whenever they entered into this fraternity or whenever they went to college. They're very sneaky. They lie. Oh my gosh, they lie. And they're busy lying to themselves. They lie to themselves about what they're doing. One guy told me, well, I'm not gay. That's just something I do. Well, what do you mean? Explain what do you do? Well, I'm not gay. I just occasionally have sex with men. Really? You're a homosexual if you're having sex with men. Bisexual, whatever you want to call it, but you gay if you getting in bed with another man. And I've met these guys. I've met so many of them in recent years. And that's why I'm doing this video, because I keep meeting these guys. Everywhere I go, I meet a hell of a lot of guys who are in these fraternities. Oh, I'm talking a lot of them. And they're all gay. But you never know. They come to Atlanta. Constantly, one guy he was constantly using his phone calling. I'm like, who are you talking to? Oh, I was talking to my wife. We having a problem with our daughter. And then when he said that to me, he kind of looked at me like, oh, I didn't want to tell you that. And I'm like, well, tell the truth. You're here in Atlanta. Your wife's at home having problems with her daughter, but you're here fucking around with these punks here in Atlanta, hanging with your other fraternity brothers. I can only speak for myself. If you're going to date a guy who's in a fraternity, please be careful. Please investigate. ask questions, hire a private detective. If the behaviors are too risky, these guys are intelligent, they're smart, they should know better, but they're doing stupid stuff. And there'll be a heavy price to pay. A heavy, heavy price to pay. Dealing with one of these guys who's not being responsible. I'm not saying that all these guys in these fraternities, I'm sure there are a lot of straight men in these fraternities. I'm sure there are a lot of straight men in these fraternities, but there are a lot of gay guys too. A lot of undercover gay guys. Guys that you see at football games with their wives that you would never suspect participated in high-risk homosexual behavior. All I can say is, guys, be careful, especially to my sisters. I know I'm criticized because I do a lot of videos. I feel sorry for these women because they don't know what's going on. They have no clue. The only way, I'll say this again, the only way anyone can find out what your partner or husband is doing is to hire a private detective. It's well worth the money. Well worth the money. So you can know what's going on. If you have a suspicion and you really have no way to prove it, hire you a private detective to follow that nigger and get your answers to your questions. They'll find out what's truly going on, and they will give you a detailed report. Hire a private detective to get to the bottom. I'm going to do a video on that because I have some friends who've done exactly that. And baby, I read those reports. I was like, wow, blown away. If you're going to date a guy or marry a guy in a fraternity, please be careful. These guys, these brothers, they're smart, they're intelligent. They're just doing something stupid because they think they're invincible. A lot of unprotected sex, a lot of sex parties, a lot of orgies, a lot of group sex with other men. Very high risk sexual behavior. And let's just keep it real. We know what's out there. HIV, now they got a version of gonorrhea that they really don't have any medicine for. If your body can't clear that gonorrhea, or you can't, or the antibiotics that they do have don't work to get rid of it, you're going to be a sick person for a long time. A very long time. Think about your own life if that other person ain't thinking about your life for you. Ask questions. Get to the bottom. Find out what's going on. When your husband say he's getting with a fraternity brother, find out where they're going. What are they doing? Investigate. Ask questions. Trust me on this. I've met too many of them. It's an epidemic in our community. These guys are highly educated. They're smart and very manipulative. Be careful. Anyway, I'm about to get off here and finish making my breakfast protein shake and get my day started and head to the gym. If you like my videos, please click like and give me some feedback and comments and let me know what you think about today's topic about the down low brothers in the Kappas, the Sigmas, the Omegas, the Alphas in our community. What do you think about that? I'm curious to read your topics. You guys have a great day.